generations of therapists who were trained under Bobath and the principle of Bobath. Now the main center in London is closed down. So we're just building up and changing the scene of therapy. Hello, welcome, kumusta? Thank you for joining us. This is Hao, your occupational therapist. And with me is my regular customer, Wang. Hello, Wang. Wang is so busy.
Hi.
She's just getting the news, a very, 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 very sad news. And we learned today that
Bobath Center has closed. The Bobath Center in London has
what?
closed. No.
Bobath Center in London closed down. That is a big news, isn't it?
That is so sad.
It's very
So
sad.
Yeah.
So generations of therapists who were trained under Bobath and the principle of Bobath, now the main center in London is closed down. So we're just building up and changing the scene of therapy. Nobody believes in this anymore, but I know it to be effective.
Yeah, that's how we've always we've always treated our children with CP.
Cerebral palsy. And I use the same technique with people with stroke
Yeah.
and
Injury, any ABI, isn't it?
any neurological impairment.
Neurological.
They just called it Bobath, but the techniques are the same.
It is.
But you know, I did not realize that Bobath was British.
Yeah, they're a couple, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah.
Berta Bobath and
they're-
Karel?
They're both, yeah.
Yes.
They're both British. They
See?
started it, yeah.
And it's closed down. The center is closed down. Now there would not be a lot of people who'd be training for it, obviously. But I can show people, people who wants to come to me and had an opportunity to work with me. And we work with the stroke patients. I'll show them some techniques and I'll show them how it works. I mean, there are some principles and I think it's the handling.
It's handling.
The handling is the important part of it.
I think the mistake there is because they keep using it, say it's a treatment, but actually it's handling.
Yeah.
And
one of the
positioning,
techniques.
The techniques are useful. And it's just sad I'm annoyed by the people who inherited it. They should have
Protected it.
protected it and produced more research or studies
Yeah.
or evidence to support the approach.
Yeah. It's the technique. It's the stretching. It's the proprioceptive stimulation.
How
it's-
you influence the tone to facilitate
The key points of
positioning
control.
and posture. Yeah.
The head, the influence of the head in the movement, the influence of position. Yeah. I think that's the legacy. But people did not understand it. They think it's an approach. It's a treatment. It's one of an approach to treatment. You have a neurodevelopmental technique.
And
These
it's not
are
a standalone treatment. It is a part of a whole treatment.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, the one thing that I think something that's new is, or recent, is spasticity. Bobathiers used to think that spasticity needed to be treated, needed to be managed. Well, in fact, it may be a part of the sequela of the condition. It's there, but you can influence it. You can influence it by positioning, by movement, by proper stretching. And if you handle the key points of control, get the scapula in protraction, then that's it. You know these things in stroke? The positioning in stroke where you put the pillow behind the scapula, and you have the pillow to maintain the hip in neutral position, support the arm. These are all Bobath techniques, isn't it? It is all Bobath techniques. And people have forgotten that it is a Bobath technique. Now they would say it's not effective. That's crazy. That's outright ignorance and lack of skill transfer from
those who are trained.
those who are trained. They didn't teach. They kept it for themselves. They didn't teach the young ones, and then the young ones, they didn't know. They did a review. They didn't understand it. What was the killer?
The Novak study.
The Novak study. So what was the Novak study?
It's a study that was more like a reviewing all literature of all the treatments, all treatment for children with CP, and categorizing it into a traffic light system.
Yeah.
So all those in amber would have all those in red, green, amber, and red.
So they put that into all the techniques. They did a review, but the quality of the review was not good, isn't it?
And
They only looked
apparently this is everyone liked it because it's very well categorized. But it's all just studying what's already there.
Yeah.
It's not really producing anything new.
Yeah.
But it's just looking at what's there. And apparently Bobath came down as a red because it doesn't have enough support of evidence to support it.
Because there's nobody who did the study anymore. People got so bored of reviewing it because it became a staple.
It became a part of a treatment. It became a part of the approach altogether, that people just become comfortable using it without studying it.
And nobody...
Because it's just automatic.
Because it works, isn't it? Are there people that are reviewing paracetamol? Nobody reviews paracetamol anymore. Because it works, isn't it? And it's there. It's there all the time. It's a staple. And then because it's boring, it's there. It just died. That is so sad. Well, in the Novak study, I don't think there's PNF in there. I don't think there's Brunstrom in there.
No.
I don't think there's Rude in there.
No. Because that doesn't be, I don't know, it's just not a staple part of CP treatment, I guess.
Yeah.
Rude
would not be.
Named.
Rude would not be. PNF, maybe. It's more for grown-ups. But it's technically the same. You can do the same.
For CPP, it's more Bobath, NDT, and SI.
Because it's neurodevelopmental.
And SI also fall under the red category. So the ones that are at the top, like the greens.
I know why. I think I know why it fell down. So what was the green? Let me ask you again. Carry on.
Botox.
Botox, of course.
Because it's easy to evidence that.
And it's you paralyze the muscle.
What CIMT?
Constraint induced movement therapy. Yeah, but that's part of it. You would use Bobath to stimulate it, and then you do the constraint induced. That's a lazy man's way, really.
I can't remember exactly what's in the Novak study, but yeah, it's one controversial research that's so been popular to the PEDS community when it came out. Since then, it's just started.
It's for pediatrics, isn't it?
PEDS, pediatrics.
Okay, so it's still probably alive for grown-ups.
Bobath.
Yeah, but the center,
but
the main center is closed.
The Bobath Center is closed.
And I think I understand why.
In London.
It must. I have suspicions why it closed. The reason perhaps why it closed, it got closed or it got shut down is because it's not accessible to a lot of people. Imagine how much do you need to pay to get that Bobath license or Bobath qualification? 3,000, 4,000?
3,000, something for 8 weeks.
For 8 weeks. So you pay £3,000 for 8 weeks of training. And you do the training to pediatric children, or all pediatric are children in pediatric care, and you do your CP, you do your moving and handling. So it's just like internship in our country, isn't it? That's what it's like. You have, if you're in where Weng and myself trained, if you're in physical dysfunction and you are in an outpatient facility, you'd be doing mat exercises 8 hours a day because
why I
people,
wasn't interested to do the Bobath training, because I said we've done this already.
yeah, it's
I was just doing the same thing.
week, day on, every hour, 1 hour of mat exercise, one after another, and you do that for 2 months. Oh my God, that was such a torture.
Yeah.
And do you remember? I remember specifically trying to get a person down in the treatment, going on all of the ontogenetic pattern, where the treatment starts with the person lying down in bed. You do some exercises, and then you get them on the side lying position. You do some activities. You get them on their elbows, and then you get them on all fours and do some activities on all fours, and then standing.
We do that still.
I know, but it's for children. You can do that.
Yeah.
But I did that
With
with
adult
adults.
in here.
No. In where we were
But
from.
not here.
Not here, because people who had stroke here are all elderly.
And all on the
You know, so you can't do that. But in a third world country where people get a stroke at the age of 40, you can really do it. It's textbook. Yeah, but it's really sad.
I know.
So the ones that are not popular is Bobath and sensory integration.
Huh?
In the Novak study.
No, Bobath and sensory integration.
Yeah, that's because you have to pay for it. It's the same with the sensory integration. If you don't market it, you can't pay for it. But sensory integration is still a staple for
and
all
with SI as well, you need to be SI qualified before you can use it. It
Yeah.
doesn't, if you think about it, it's not really, it's not evidenced, but not a lot of therapists can do it because it's regulated. Unlike Bobath shouldn't be. It can be used by anyone.
In the United Kingdom, not a lot of people are using it in the United Kingdom because it's very regulated. In the States, it is still regulated, but people are still using it because people would really go for the training.
Yeah, people are trained.
Would not,
because here, if you work for the NHS won't use it.
Yeah.
That's why what's the point of doing the SI?
Yeah.
If you're a private therapist, then you would.
Then
go for
it's
it.
a staple.
If
It's
you're
a
a private
staple among
therapist.
private therapists.
It is.
So sensory integration. I remember there was this book and there was this approach. It's combined sensory integration and NDT. Bobath sensory integration combined. That was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah. When was this published?
I can't remember, but
because when I was in doing my masters, I was gonna do that because there's not a lot of evidence at that time with combined SI and DT. That was my research proposal.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah.
there was already I encountered a text around that time. So this
But
would have
that's
been
not a lot.
no.
So it's not something that's supported within that population. Because my age group at that time was for children with CP 5 to 12 years old. I remember something that age range. And we normally with CP just do Bobath, not SI. But if you do both,
it is very effective. It is combined.
Actually,
because
it is normal. It's usually combined, but
It
you
is.
just don't label it as SI.
Yeah.
It's mostly what stands out is the Bobath, it's
Yeah.
the NDT Bobath. But if you do both and actually label and measure it that way, if there's any, if it makes a difference by actually doing combined treatment that way.
You know, now that Bobath has died, I guess, if the main center is dead, you know. So now that it's died, all the clinicians now who don't have the skills will just really kill it even more, and they would feel that they're vindicated for not learning how to do it, or they would say, oh, it doesn't work. But really the excuse is people just don't know how to do it. You know,
they don't know the principle, they've never used it. They don't see the point of doing it because people just rely on equipment now here in the UK. Your child, you have CP, sit, be quiet.
Wow. And that's very sad. So people have taken off the restorative part of occupational therapy because Bobath for children sensory integration. These are all proper rehabilitation. These are all restorative interventions. What happens here is if somebody has a CP, get a wheelchair,
Get a
chair, that's
a,
it.
Sleep system. Just
Sleep system.
Get them in one position and just be quiet. It's sad.
It's sad. But that approach, like the chair and the sleep system, these are just perhaps biomechanical, you're just maintaining.
There is an element. There's a role for it.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be kept there.
Yeah.
That way. Because children are mobile creatures. They need to be given the opportunity to move and be facilitated,
to explore, to play.
You can do play and seating, but it's just one position. There are other ways to do it, and Bobath comes in. That's when Bobath and SI comes in.
The
techniques of Bobath and SI will be really useful in
and
that
then
sense.
A functional use. So Bobath is really coming down on the adjunctive side, where you handle the body. So you prepare the body. That's where Bobath comes in, right? And after the Bobath, where you do that, you get them to do things little by little. That now becomes enabling activities. That's the second stage up. And these enabling activity would be the type of CIMT. Because you get them to pick things, use it. So you can see on the continuum of rehabilitation, there are 4 stages. So let me just remind you, I think it's in my podcast as well. The very basic would be the adjunctive therapies. You can have sensory integration, electrotherapy, Bobath. All of those are adjunctive therapies. That's where it sits. The preparation side, you prepare the body. Yeah. CIMT, that would be the next one. You get a person to do something little by little. And then the next stage up would be the functional retraining, which would be the purposeful activity by definition of this occupational performance frame of reference. And I have met some of your colleagues who do not believe in the Bobath. They do not believe in enabling. They want to go functional straight away. But you can't do the functional unless you do the enabling. You can't do the enabling unless you do the adjunctive. And the adjunctive is Bobath. And then afterwards, community integration. Isn't it? That's what people are missing. It's the categorization of where it really lies in the continuum of therapy. Wow. So it's a sad moment for us, man.
Yeah. I didn't hear about it. Must have closed for quite some time now.
Really?
I think so.
So we relate in the news.
Yeah, I need to check that out.
Okay, let's find out.
Bobath Center. Bobcat. Bobath Center.
Wasn't even highlighted in any of the therapy news.
No, sure. The National Bobath Cerebral Palsy Center homepage. Important announcement, closure of the Bobath Center. Dear supporters, funders, and service users, it is with deep regret that we announce the closure of the Bobath Center. After careful consideration of our financial situation, we have reached the difficult decision to cease operations.
It is financial.
Despite our best efforts, ongoing financial challenges have made it impossible for us to sustain our services. Board of Trustees has made the decision to close the National Bobath Center due to the lack of support from NHS England and other statutory agencies. See, the NHS stopped using it because of that Novak study. Same with SI.
Jeez, they could have just produced outcome after outcome. Isn't it?
This is not saying lightly.
Because they see so much children.
On our community. Closure dates 31st of May 2024. So it's not long.
So it's really recent. May, June, July. There's a few weeks, a few months.
So we committed to supporting our services and helping them access alternative sources of support where possible.
I'd say it's the lack of skills of the therapist. It's the lack of skills of a lot of you. This is why I'm doing this podcast, people. Get your skills up. And it's the laziness that's killing the profession. And then eventually, all the therapists are going to be replaced by band 4s.
Oh, yeah.
because
That
band
is
fours
happening.
are being hired to do the job of the qualified therapists,
Yeah.
and because everybody is saying that they don't have any time, they always come back to having no time, the excuse of having no time. You know, what was this study? There was an initiative in one of the hospitals. I heard that they were reviewing something in critical care or something about prolonged lack of consciousness, and then they cannot do.
Prolonged disorder, prolonged disturbance of consciousness.
Yeah, and then the
Actually,
effectiveness.
and they're comparing the standard of this hospital of the team to the national standard of
Mm,
you doing the regular assessment, because you need to be doing the you need to be doing the assessment every day, and they cannot do that. And the outcome was, due to lack of staffing, they're unable to meet the standards for that, for national standards for.
wow, because
And
they don't have time. Nobody ever makes time. Do you know, I
because it becomes, apparently it is a lowest of priority when you are prioritizing discharge, getting the
mm.
patient out and discharged.
And I was thinking about that. I attended a meeting a good few days ago, and people are always complaining that they don't have time to do the therapy that they wanted
Mm-hmm.
because of the discharge planning.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
But why did we decide to do the discharge planning?
Mm.
How come the physios don't care about discharge planning? All they do is they just do the therapy, the treatment, the treatment, the treatment. Nobody cares about discharge planning.
Because we've been set to be part of the discharge planning team for some reason, because of the equipment needs.
Yeah.
We look at safety and equipment, and so half of us is discharge planning, and the half of us was supposed to be therapy.
Yeah.
Is taken over by the discharge planning.
I think we should do the therapy once again, and let's stop the discharge planning. Let's see what happens to the hospitals. Then they'll invest more on therapists.
I think that happened before, when we're not doing that. Patients stay so long in the hospital, and
Yeah.
then we proved our role, we proved our worth by facilitating discharge, and that's when OTs grew somehow and became known as part of the discharge planning team, facilitating community reintegration, getting out of hospital quicker, because we can assess and provide safety equipment to keep them out of hospital.
I think we need to do that again. There
What?
has to be a national strike day. There needs to be a national occupational therapy refocusing day, where the intervention is, let's do the retraining. Functional retraining, cognitive retraining, do the actual face-to-face. Because what I'm hearing now is everybody's complaining about the time. Everybody's complaining about discharge planning. But what's stopping people from coming back to see patients? Nothing's stopping them. Yeah, the pressure of discharge, but who's giving that pressure?
Because if it's acute, if it's an acute environment and you are there only for your acute episode, then the idea is, once you're medically optimized, you don't do rehab, you go back to community.
Yeah.
Which is what we sort of do. So basically what we do as OT in acute is assess and hand over to community for rehab. And I think that's the model that we're currently in every acute hospital setting. And time is
I know that. Yeah.
an issue for everybody.
But here's the thing. You need to do some work. You need to develop the skill. But I wonder what will happen now. Will people continue to develop those skills?
It will evolve into something else eventually. We're still doing same things, but we'll just be labeled something else.
Yeah. I know. It's time to do our own approach, Wang. Wang and Ao's approach. Just do it. The Nike approach. Just do it.
At the end of the day, it's about the person, and it's up to them what they want to do. What is their goals? What do you want to achieve? You're just supporting them, empowering them, coaching them, and it's.
Who are we talking about? Patients or staff?
patience as an OT, as an OT. What's it really that we do? Physios are more straightforward. They strengthen. They prescribe
I
exercises.
know.
They walk. They assess. It's very physical.
Yeah.
Physio. OT, we're so divided into so many things.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we want to find out what this person need to be doing.
Yeah.
What
What's the
do they want to
problem?
do? What do they want to do? What are they like before? What are you aiming? What are they aiming for? Because we might want them to stand and we might then want them to get dressed and everything, but that's not what they want to do. They want to get dressed. They want to be dressed by someone. Yeah, it's not their goal. What is it? Why would you push them to learn dressing? That's not something that they do before this.
No, you won't do that. And that's why it's occupational concern, isn't it? What do you want?
What do you want? Would you like to do it? Would you not? Can
Yeah.
force them. We can motivate. You can try, but they need to be on it. They need to be in. I mean, not on it.
All right.
It's family. It's frustrating.
It's frustrating. Sad news. So at the end of all of this, it becomes a rant involving occupational therapy, which makes this episode a riot rant involving occupational therapy. Until next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye. If you enjoyed this podcast, talk to your friends and colleagues about it. Like it, subscribe, share, and do what you can to appease whatever algorithm that is at play. Just remember, guys, anything you do matters and has an outcome. Until next time, bye.